What up, and welcome to the first video on this channel in which you'll actually hear my voice. And for those of you who are surprised, yeah, that's right, I'm British.
Big whoop, wanna fight about it?
But originating from
the mysterious subcontinent of India.
Now, with the voice reveal done, it's time to get to the point of this entire video. The perfect order to watch the entire Dragon Ball series, created by the almighty Senpai Akira Toriyama himself, and turned into an anime by those devious fools at Toei Animation headquarters. This includes the 4 main Dragon Ball series. I'm not really sure what the plural is, but it doesn't matter. The series are Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and Dragon Ball Super. All the movies, specials, and OVA animation, as well as the useless but interesting promotional anime This totals to 639 main series episodes, 20 movies, 3 specials, 4 OVAs, and however many episodes of Super Dragon Ball Heroes are out at the time of your viewing. Now, this video will perfectly chronologically order each of these different forms of Dragon Ball, so that you, the viewer, can either watch the series with nothing being spoilt, should you be preparing to watch it for the first time, or simply rewatch the series out of interest, or before, the next big bit of Dragon Ball media comes out. Now, just so you know, I'm not going to go into proper depth about any of the plots. This is to minimize spoilers, of course. So with the trivialities now out of the way, let us begin. So, as you would expect, we begin this order at the very first series of Dragon Ball known as, Dragon Ball. And this series contains 153 episodes. So to begin with, you are to start by watching episodes 1 to 13 of this original Dragon Ball, which covers the entire hunt for the Dragon Ball saga. And yes, it really was only 13 episodes long, because Dragon Ball was sort of in its rookie stage.
I haven't been this embarrassed since I was a rookie firefighter. Sorry, first day, still learning.
So it wasn't very good with its pacing at the time. You understand, it's just starting. Next, you are to watch the first ever Dragon Ball movie, Dragon Ball Curse of the Blood Rubies, because this movie is actually a retelling of the first saga, but with a different story, helping it to make it its own thing. Now, this is a good time to point out that if you're planning to watch Dragon Ball for the first time, you should know that the movies and the show take place in completely different dimensions. So anything that happens in the movies affects the movie dimension, not the TV show's dimension. Aside from certain movies that were confirmed to be canon to the main Dragon Ball story by writers and Toei themselves, which, we'll get into later in the video. Next, we return to the main Dragon Ball series, and so you are to continue from episode 14 all the way up until episode 28, which will cover pretty much the entire tournament saga. After this, you shall then watch the second Dragon Ball movie, Dragon Ball Sleeping Princess in Devil's Castle, which takes place at the start of the tournament saga, but very quickly splits off into something very different through the quest given to Goku by Master Roshi. After that, you continue with a large number of episodes which are going to cover 2 whole sagas, the Red Ribbon Army saga and the second tournament saga. This means watching from episode 29 all the way up to episode 101. Following that, you shall watch the next 2 Dragon Ball movies, Dragon Ball Mystical Adventure and Dragon Ball Path to Power. I put Mystical Adventure after Red Ribbon and second tournament saga because it includes characters that were introduced in these sagas so that you would already be familiar with the characters. And also because this movie is sort of a fusion of these 2 sagas with its own unique story. I put Dragon Ball Path to Power after because it is the final Dragon Ball movie and is a movie that fused the first 3 sagas into one big but new and fresh story. After concluding with the last Dragon Ball movie, you shall then finish watching the last 2 Dragon Ball arcs, the King Piccolo arc and the third tournament saga. This means watching from episode 102 all the way up to the final episode of the original Dragon Ball, 153. With that, you will have finished 153 out of 639 episodes and 4 out of the 20 movies. With the end of Dragon Ball, you shall now move on to Dragon Ball Z. But before that, you must watch the first movie to bear the Dragon Ball Z title, as it chronologically takes place before the Dragon Ball Z series. This is Dragon Ball Z movie Dead Zone, the 5th movie to bear the Dragon Ball name. Next up, you shall begin the most influential and recognizable series of Dragon Ball. A series so glorious that it's managed to hold up a legacy for over 30 years. Originally a manga series turned anime series, movie series, terrible live action movie series, game series, clothing line, merchandise, accessory line, trading card series and trading card game series. Spanning a whopping 291 episodes of continuity, this is Dragon Ball Z. Excited yet? I know I am, because you're going to continue by watching episodes 1 to 35 of the original Dragon Ball Z. This will cover the entire Saiyan saga, the first of the 4 sagas. After that, we have the second Dragon Ball Z movie, Dragon Ball Z The World's Strongest. I placed it there because Goku's gi is the one he gets from King Kai. As well as that, Gohan has a flashback from the Saiyan conflict, therefore making this the most logical place to put this movie in the timeline. Continuing with the main series, you are to watch from episode 36 to 65 of Dragon Ball Z, which will cover the beginning of the second saga all the way up until Goku's arrival on Namek. Once you hit episode 65, you shall then take a break to watch the next Dragon Ball movie, Dragon Ball Z The Tree of Might. I believe this is the best place to put it, as it definitely takes place at some point during the Namek saga, as Gohan has his new trim, but Goku isn't able to use Kaioken times 20 yet, so I decided to put it just after Goku's arrival, as a little break before getting into the good stuff, because remember what Granny always says, good things taste a little bit better when they're savoured. After that movie, you resume from episode 66 all the way up to episode 84, so just before Goku comes face to face with a certain someone. From thence, you shall watch Dragon Ball Z movie Lord Slug, as there is a little something that foreshadows a big upcoming event in the main story, and now seems as good a time as any, because it takes place both after the Tree of Might, and you can build up your excitement for the upcoming Goku versus someone fight even more. Next, you shall watch only 2 more main series episodes, which will be episodes 85 and 86, as they will provide you with the exposition you need to watch what comes next, and that is the first Dragon Ball Z special that you will watch, Bardock, the father of Goku. And I won't lie to you, it is a very good special. Then, it's on to episode 87, all the way up to episode 107. So from the beginning of Goku versus someone to the final conclusion of the entire arc. And with that, you will have brought the entire Namek saga to a close. And to bring this section of the story to a close, you shall end it off with your very first OVA animation, OVA standing for Original Video Animation, which will be Dragon Ball OVA Episode of Bardock, where you will explore an extended Bardock story made for the sake of
Marketing!
Provide an ingenious and well thought out extensive backstory that doesn't provide any further questions whatsoever. Continuing with the main series, you are to now watch episode 108 all the way up to episode 117, and then you will begin the next official saga of Dragon Ball Z by watching episodes 118 up to 125. This then seems like the perfect place, continuatively, to watch the 5th Dragon Ball Z movie, Cooler's Revenge, which seems to take place in the years leading up to the arrival of the dynamic duo, as we'll refer to them for now. Anyway, after finishing that great movie, you are to continue and watch episode 126 up to episode 147. This will cover everything from the arrival of the dynamic duo all the way up to the chamber stuff. That's a good little non-spoiler spoiler for you. From that, you shall transition into the second Dragon Ball special, the history of Trunks. And if we're being honest here, this one is pretty slick, because it flushes out Trunks' backstory so much more, and was just a treat, if you know what I mean. Returning to the series, you will continue on episode 148, all the way up to episode 174, which covers everything leading up to the start of the arc's big finale, which is now the perfect time to take a break from the show and watch a whole 3 movies and 2 OVAs. You shall watch Dragon Ball Movie 10, The Return of Cooler, Movie 11, Super Android 13, and Movie 12, Broly, the Legendary Super Saiyan, in that order. And then, onto the OVAs, Plan to Eradicate the Saiyans and Plan to Eradicate the Super Saiyans. I put all three of these movies before the Cell games as there is no exact way to place them into the timeline due to inconsistencies in the show. For example, in the Cooler movie, Dende is living on Earth, while Gohan is unable to transform. In the Android 13 movie, there's an issue with continuity, as it takes place after a certain someone's hideout is blown up, but the dynamic duo are nowhere to be seen. And in the Broly movie, Gohan is able to transform, but he's unable to do something else. But it also takes place after all other movies, so it makes sense that it takes place before the conclusion of the Cell arc. Then, the two OVAs clearly take place before the Cell games, as a certain someone isn't able to do something in it. And also, it's obvious that it takes place after Broly, as Goku makes a reference to that movie. After all that, it's time to get back to the show, and that means watching episode 175 all the way up to episode 194, which will bring to an official end the third saga of Dragon Ball Z, and with it, Dragon Ball Z Movie 13, BoJack Unbound, as it takes place just after Cell, making After the Arc the best time to watch the movie. After that, it's episode 195 to episode 207, which covers the greatest filler arc and the start of the fourth and final Dragon Ball Z saga, which personally, I found very enjoyable. After, we must make a quick pit stop and watch Dragon Ball Z Movie 14, Broly's Second Coming, as it fits perfectly into the story at this point, as Gohan is currently friends with, someone. This then continues into episode 208 up to 227, to before Goten and Trunks arrive at the, plot that's taking place, as they need to take a quick detour into Dragon Ball Z Movie 15, Bio Broly, as this takes place just after the tournament is finished. Then, Goten and Trunks can return to the main plot, so you'll continue with episodes 228 all the way up to 253, and in this time, you're going to get introduced to some great things. It is after this, while Goku and Vegeta have departed for a bit, that Dragon Ball Z Movie 16, Fusion Reborn, takes place, as Buu is being quiet, but at the same time, Goku also references Majin Buu in the film, while still being in a certain place. After that one movie break, you shall continue and watch episode 254 up to episode 288, thus ending the final saga of Dragon Ball Z. However, this isn't the end of Dragon Ball Z, and before this series can come to its grand conclusion, you must take a break and watch Dragon Ball Z Movie 17, Wrath of the Dragon, which will both explain some things about a previous character, but also leave you lost as hell with the answers. But since it's a movie, you don't really have to care about the logic. With that movie completed, you will then bring Dragon Ball Z to its inevitable end by watching episodes 289, 290, and the final episode 291. And to bring this period of Dragon Ball to a close, you will finish by watching the final original video animation, and that is Yo Son Goku and his friends return. With this done, you will have watched 444 out of 639 episodes, 17 out of 20 movies, 2 out of 3 specials, and all 4 OVA animations. After the age of Dragon Ball Z, we move on to the age of Dragon Ball GT, the shortest Dragon Ball series, and this is going to be simple, as you shall watch episodes 1 to 64, which are all the episodes of Dragon Ball GT, thus bringing that series to an end. But to cap off this age of Dragon Ball, you shall watch the final Dragon Ball special, Dragon Ball GT, A Hero's Legacy, which actually takes place before certain events of the last episode of Dragon Ball GT. With that, you will have watched 508 out of 639 episodes, 17 out of 20 movies, all 3 specials, and all 4 OVAs. Finally, you shall now move on to the most modern age of Dragon Ball. This is Dragon Ball Super, the most recent series, and still ongoing if you watch the English dub. Now to begin with, you shall watch the 18th Dragon Ball movie, Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods, which is easily one of the best Dragon Ball movies of all time. This then opens you up to watch Dragon Ball Super episodes 1 to 15, which answers what happens before and after Battle of Gods. Then, it's the 19th Dragon Ball movie, Dragon Ball Z Resurrection of F, which brings back a familiar face that you already have met. Then, you shall watch the entire remainder of Dragon Ball Super. This means episode 16 all the way up to episode 131, ending the final series of Dragon Ball. Well, until Dragon Ball returns, that is. Hopefully either a Super or a new series, and hopefully later this year. Or, whenever Toei can be bothered to release it. Fortunately though, there's no need to be sad, because the 20th Dragon Ball movie, the first to bear the Dragon Ball Super title, and also take the position as the only Dragon Ball movie canon to the main story, is the next thing for you to watch. This is Dragon Ball Super Broly. Easily one of the greatest films of the Dragon Ball franchise. A true masterpiece of its time. It's like 5 ancient sieges of sexiness gathered together one day on the top of Mount Sexy to proclaim its creation. Then, on the 20th day, when all the sexy stars had aligned, this movie was conceived to send a message to the world that
Dragon Ball is the god of shonen.
with the end of that movie, you will have officially finished the entire Dragon Ball series. This includes all 639 episodes, all 20 movies, all 3 specials, and all 4 OVAs. Congratulations! Now, if there's still a void in your life due to Dragon Ball Super being on hiatus, don't be sad, because in the meantime, until Super returns or a new series is released, you can watch the promotional Dragon Ball anime, Super Dragon Ball Heroes, which currently has 13 episodes to its name at the time of this recording. I do warn you though, that there will be a lot of confusing logic in the anime, but it's Dragon Ball Heroes. It's made to promote a video game that's only exclusive in Japan, so it's to be taken with a grain of salt. If you don't want to watch that, then fortunately, Team 4-Star, an amazing YouTube channel, have a series called Dragon Ball Z Abridged, which will be an even better alternative in the meantime until Dragon Ball returns, as it is the funniest incarnation of Dragon Ball to date. And you know what? I love them so much, I'll leave a link to the playlist of videos down below. So if you ever want to watch all the episodes of Dragon Ball Z Abridged and get a real good laugh after finishing Dragon Ball, click that playlist down below and enjoy. So, with that done, I'm going to now summarize everything in this video for you guys, so pay attention. The perfect order to watch the Dragon Ball series goes as follows. Dragon Ball episodes 1 to 13, Dragon Ball Movie 1, Curse of the Blood Rubies, Dragon Ball episodes 14 to 28, Dragon Ball Movie 2, Sleeping Princess in Devil's Castle, Dragon Ball episodes 29 to 101, Dragon Ball Movie 3, Mystical Adventure, Dragon Ball Movie 4, Path to Power, Dragon Ball episodes 102 to 153, Dragon Ball Movie 5, Dead Zone, Dragon Ball Z episodes 1 to 35, Dragon Ball Movie 6, The World's Strongest, Dragon Ball Z episodes 36 to 65, Dragon Ball Movie 7, The Tree of Might, Dragon Ball Z episodes 66 to 84, Dragon Ball Movie 8, Lord Slug, Dragon Ball Z episode 85 to 86, Dragon Ball Z Special 1, Bardock the Father of Goku, Dragon Ball Z episodes 87 to 107, Dragon Ball OVA 1, episode of Bardock, Dragon Ball Z episodes 108 to 125, Dragon Ball Movie 9, Cooler's Revenge, Dragon Ball Z episodes 126 to 147, Dragon Ball Z Special 2, The History of Trunks, Dragon Ball Z episodes 148 to 174, Dragon Ball Movie 10, The Return of Cooler, Dragon Ball Movie 11, Super Android 13, Dragon Ball Movie 12, Broly the Legendary Super Saiyan, Dragon Ball OVA 2, Plan to Eradicate the Saiyans, Dragon Ball OVA 2 Remastered, Plan to Eradicate the Super Saiyans, Dragon Ball Z episodes 175 to 194, Dragon Ball Movie 13, BoJack Unbound, Dragon Ball episodes 195 to 207, Dragon Ball Movie 14, Broly's Second Coming, Dragon Ball Z episodes 208 to 227, Dragon Ball Movie 15, Bio Broly, Dragon Ball Z episodes 228 to 253, Dragon Ball Movie 16, Fusion Reborn, Dragon Ball Z episodes 254 to 288, Dragon Ball Movie 17, Wrath of the Dragon, Dragon Ball Z episodes 289 to 291, Dragon Ball OVA 3, Yo Son Goku and his friends return, Dragon Ball GT episodes 1 to 64, Dragon Ball GT Special, A Hero's Legacy, Dragon Ball Movie 18, Battle of Gods, Dragon Ball Super episodes 1 to 15, Dragon Ball Movie 19, Resurrection of F, Dragon Ball Super episodes 16 to 131, and finally, Dragon Ball Movie 20, Broly. And also, if you want to, there's Dragon Ball Z Abridged, link to which is in the description, and also Super Dragon Ball Heroes, or even both if you really feel like it. With that, you now know how to perfectly watch Dragon Ball, and if I somehow mess this up like the huge idiot I am, please be sure to put me down in the comments. And as always, I appreciate you man taking your time to watch man's videos, so all that's left to do now is leave a like, subscribe, and bless.